The clock had barely struck 7 when Cynthia Daniels stepped through the towering glass doors of Daniels Enterprises, but not as a CEO's daughter. This time, she worked in as a cleaner, her designer's dresses replaced by a faded uniform, her delicate hand now gripping a mop. For the first time in her life, she was invisible. She had always known her father's company as a place of excellence, a beacon of success. But Mr. Daniel was no fool. He had built his empire from the ground up, and he knew that power could corrupt even the most promising individuals. I want you to see the truth for yourself, Cynthia. He had told her a week before. Start at the bottom, work as a cleaner, observe, learn, then tell me what you see. And now here she was, hidden in plain sight, her identity erased. Cynthia barely had time to adjust before reality struck her like a slap. Hey, you new girl, a voice barked from across the hallway. She turned to see a woman in heels, so high they looked painful. Her name tag read Mrs. Linda Owalabi, head of human resources. She was a middle-aged woman with sharp eyes and an even sharper tongue. You're late, Linda snapped, crossing her arms. Cynthia looked at the clock, 6:55 a.m. She was actually 5 minutes earlier. I thought I was on time, she said, keeping her voice low. Linda scoffed. You think? Cleaners don't get to think. You get to scrub floors, empty trashes, and stay out of sight. Understand? Cynthia clenched her fist but nodded. Good. Now grab that mop and don't let me see a single stain on my floor. Linda turned on her heels and walked away, her perfume lingering in the air. Cynthia took a deep breath, fighting the anger rising in her chest. She had expected she had expected to be treated differently, but not like this. As the hours passed, Cynthia moved through the ground office building, quietly observing. The employees here wore their fake smiles well. In front of the managers, they were charming, polite, and professional. But behind closed doors, she saw their true colors. She watched as a young intern nervously approached Mr. Kingsley, the head of finance, to submit a report. The moment the intern left, Kingsley tossed the file into the trash without even looking at it. He saw Miss Brenda, a senior marketing officer, laughing cruelly at a struggling receptionist who had spilled coffee on a client's document. Worst of all, she watched as the janitorial staff, her own new colleagues, were treated like ghosts. No good morning, no eye contact, no respect. How can a place like this looks so perfect on the outside, but on the inside, it's rotten, she thought. Just as she was starting to feel overwhelmed, Cynthia heard a soft voice behind her. You need help with that? She turned to see a young man with rolled up sleeves carrying a stack of files. He had an easy smile and his eyes held warmed, something she hadn't seen all day. I am David, he said. You must be new here. Cynthia hesitated. She had been visible to everyone, but David had noticed her. I am Cynthia, she replied. Well, Cynthia, welcome to the most exhausting job in this building, he said with a chuckle. I hope they're not giving you too much trouble. Cynthia forced a smile. Nothing I can't handle. David nodded. Good. But if you ever need a break, the rooftop is the best place to hide. With that, he walked away, leaving Cynthia with a strange feeling in her chest. For the first time that day, she wasn't just a cleaner, she was a person. But she knew the real test was only beginning. Cynthia had always believed that wealth made people powerful, but now she was learning something new. Power reveals who people truly are. As the days passed, she watched her father's employee more closely, noting every moment of kindness and cruelty. She wasn't just cleaning floors, she was collecting secrets. The office buzzed with fake laughter, false politeness, and hidden arrogance. Cynthia saw it all. Mr. Kingsley, the finance head, was even worse than she thought. Whenever the CEO wasn't around, he would scream at junior staff over the smallest mistakes. One afternoon, Cynthia was wiping down a glass table when she overheard him yelling at a trembling young accountant. You call this a report? My dog could do better than this nonsense, Kingsley bellowed, slamming the papers on the desk. The accountant's face turned red, but he said nothing. No one dared to talk back at Kingsley. Cynthia greeted her tape. These are the people running my father's company. Then there was Miss Brenda, the marketing officer. She treated the cleaners like pests, purposely spilling coffee so they would clean it up. One day, she even snapped her finger at Cynthia. Hey, cleaner girl, my desk is messy. Fix it. Cynthia turned to see Brenda's desk covered in makeup, papers, and empty snack wrappers. The word almost slipped from her mouth. Do it yourself, but she held herself back. Instead, she nodded and said cleaning. Brenda smirked, tossing a used tissue on the floor just to test her patience. Cynthia took a deep breath. Soon, you will see who I really am. But not everyone in the office was heartless. Cynthia found herself looking forward to her encounter with David, the kind-hearted employee who had first spoken to her. Unlike the others, he treated her with respect and kindness, never talking down at her. One afternoon, Cynthia was struggling with a heavy trash bag when David appeared beside her. Hey, let me help you, he said, taking it from her. You don't have to, she murmured. I know, but I want to. Cynthia watched him in silence. Why are you nice to me? She said. David struggled. Why wouldn't I be? Cynthia had no answer. That night, she sat alone in her tiny cleaner's changing room, her mind racing. There are good people here, but there are also bad people. I need to know who truly deserves this company and who doesn't. She picked up a small notebook hidden in her cleaning cart. On the first page, she wrote in a single sentence, "The time for truth is coming." She had seen enough. Now it was time to set the trap. Cynthia had spent 3 weeks in the company, quietly observing, pretending to be a powerless cleaner. But there she was, far from powerless. Her notebook was now filled with names, those who had treated others with kindness and those who had abused their position of power. It was time to turn the tables. Late at night, after the office had emptied, Cynthia pulled out her phone and sent a message to her father. Cynthia, I am ready. I've seen enough. Mr. Daniels, good. Make your move. Cynthia took a deep breath. The real game was about to begin. The next morning, she placed hidden cameras in key areas, the boardroom, the cafeteria, and a few private offices. She didn't have to wait too long for the truth to unfold. Mr. Kinsey was the first to walk into her trap. She had seen him steal company money before, but now she had proof. With the camera rolling, Kingsley met with a supplier in his office and took an envelope full of cash. Consider this our little arrangement, he whispered. The second was Miss Brenda. Cynthia had left a fake email from the CEO's office on Brenda's desk, claiming they were considering her for a promotion. Brenda, thinking she was alone, laughed coldly as she tossed the paper aside. As if I wait for them to promote me, she murmured. One more fake expense report and I'll make more than my salary. Then there was David. Cynthia needed to know if his kindness was real or just an act, so she staged a tears. She spilled a drink on herself in the cafeteria, pretending to be clumsy. The room filled with laughter. Some employees mocked her, but David, he didn't laugh. Instead, he grabbed napkin and helped her clean up. Are you okay? He said, with concern in his eyes. Cynthia felt a lump in her throat. David had passed. She now knew who deserved to stay and who didn't. Cynthia took the collected videos, documents, and evidence and prepared for the final act. She went to her father's office that night. Tomorrow, she said, handing him the files, everything changes. Her father looked at her proudly. Then, let's make sure they'll never see it coming. The next morning, the company door opened as usual. No one knew the storm that was about to hit. The office buzzed as usual, employees settling into their daily routines, unaware the judgment day had arrived. Cynthia walked in, not as the invisible cleaner, but as Cynthia Daniels, daughter of the CEO. She wore a sharp white suit, her hair neatly pulled back, her every step radiating power. The same employees who had ignored her, insulted her, or looked down at her as a mere cleaner now grabs in shock. But Cynthia was not here for greetings, she was here for justice. A sudden announcement rang through the company's speaker. All employees must report to the boardroom immediately. Inside, the air was thick with confusion. The employees whispered among themselves. Was someone else getting fired? Was the CEO stepping down? Then the doors opened. Mr. Daniel stepped in, and right behind him was Cynthia. Whisper filled the room. What was she doing here? Mr. Daniel cleared his throat. Before we begin, I would like to introduce my daughter, Cynthia Daniels. Gaps echoed. Cynthia, the daughter of the CEO. Brenda's face went pale. Kingsley swallowed hard. Then Cynthia spoke, her voice calm but firm. For the past few weeks, I have been here among you, not as a CEO's daughter, but as a cleaner. A heavy silence fell over the room. You didn't know who I was, and because of that, I saw the true face of the company. Cynthia turned to the projector screen. Let's watch a few things together, shall we? One by one, the hidden camera recording played. They saw Kingsley stealing company money. They saw Brenda mocking her own promotion and committing fraud. They saw employees bullying cleaners, lying and mistreating junior staff. As the video played, the room filled with gasps, murmurs, and shame. Brenda covered her mouth in horror. Kingsley sank in his chair, sweating forming from his forehead. David, however, stood tall, untouched by the disgrace. When the screen went blank, Cynthia looked at them all. You all thought power made you untouchable, she said, but power only reveals who you are truly. Her father took over. Effective immediately, he announced, Mr. Kingsley, Miss Brenda, and all those found guilty of fraud, abuse, and corruption, you all are fired. Brenda gasped, Sir, please, I can explain. No, you can't, Cynthia cut in. You spilled coffee on me for fun. You snapped your fingers at me like a dog. You thought I was a nobody. Brenda's mouth trembled, but she had no words. Security entered and escorted the guilty ones out. As Kingsley passed Cynthia, he whispered, You tricked us. No, Cynthia replied, looking at him. I gave you a chance to be decent. You failed. After the dust settled, Mr. Daniels turned to David. You were the only one who treated my daughter and everyone else with respect. David blinked, unsure where this was going. Cynthia smiled. That's why you're being promoted. David's eye widened. Me? Yes. You made people like you. We need people like you leading this company. As the meeting ended, Cynthia felt peaceful. She had walked in as a powerless cleaner. Now she walked out as a woman who changed everything. I hope you did enjoy this story. I've come to the end of this story. The moral lesson of this story is power reveals true characters. Treat everyone with kindness and respect because you never know who is watching. I hope you did enjoy this story. Please, if you did, don't forget to click on the subscribe button and turn on your bell button. For my returning subscribers, a big thank you.